Hello, it's Tristiane. Welcome. This is a yin-ish practice. We'll be doing a bit of holding within our poses, nice, slow, deep movements. You might find it handy to have a couple of blocks or a bolster or a pillow just to prop yourself up. Nothing is required, but it's nice to have some extra support. You can set those things over to the side of your mat here to start. And just come to stand up at the front of your mat. Spread your feet a little bit wider than the distance of your own hips and slowly start to fold forward, bringing your hands onto your thighs as you stick your bum out behind you. And if that feels okay for your hips and your back, you might go and bring your forearms onto your thighs. That might feel okay. Keep sticking your butt out behind you. Create a little bit of a hollow at the pit of your belly, so you're lifting your belly away from your thighs here. Shrug your shoulders back, looking down towards your toes. You might even give your hips a little wiggle from right to left here. And you might decide to just stay. This might feel like plenty of forward fold, especially if it is the end of a long day. But if you want to go a little bit deeper into this fold, you certainly can. You could bring your hands to the floor. You could use any of your props to place your hands on if you like. Wherever you are, do keep your knees bent. Keep sticking your butt a little bit out behind you. And keep that hollow at the pit of your belly. So you're just lifting your belly ever so slightly up and in. And just hang out here. This should be a relatively gentle space. Just starting to decompress the spine a little bit to lengthen it. You shouldn't feel a particularly deep stretch at the back of your legs yet. If you do, you might prop yourself up a little higher. I'm going to take a few more deep breaths here. Keep spreading your toes wide. See how much you can relax here. Can you let your jaw relax? Your shoulders relax? Can you start to let your brain relax? Take another deep breath here. With the following inhale, you're going to start to lift yourself up. Go ahead and straighten your legs a little bit, walking your hands onto your thighs or your shins, Shrug your shoulders back, reach the crown of your head forward. Feel that little lift in the pit of your belly here. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees, come back down. Place your fingertips either on the floor this time or on a prop. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider than your hips, or even a little bit wider than they were. They may have already been a bit wider than your hips. Toes are out, heels are in, and you're going to start to squat. And you can just bend your knees here. You might feel fine right in this position. You might need to bring your hands up a little higher. You might feel perfectly ready to go all the way down, hips between the heels. See, again, what feels a little stretchy. It doesn't have to be the deepest stretch in the world. It certainly should not be painful. We are going to stay here for about a minute. So make sure you're in a place that's sustainable to your body. I want you to feel your hips and your thighs, and again, maybe a little bit of release in your lower back. You're going to again be resting your hands on the floor. Your hips can be lifted as much as you like. You can even have your hands planted on your legs in this position. Take a deep breath in and out. For most of us, squatting is rather intense. It takes a bit of concentration to stay here and not just let go of this pose. Maybe even close your eyes. Just tune into the sensations happening in your body. Take another deep breath here. Start to blink your eyes open. You're going to release your fingertips. Bring your onto your hands or onto the, bring your fingertips on your hand, bring your fingertips onto your thighs or onto the floor or onto props. And lift your bum up. You're going to heel toe your feet back into that forward fold type position. And maybe pedal your legs a little bit here. Bending and straightening. And you can do one leg at a time or you can do both legs together. I'm resting my hands on the floor just because that feels quite supportive to me. You certainly don't need to go that far down. You can be resting your hands on your thighs here or on props. Take another breath. And then again, you're going to lift up halfway on your next inhale, sliding your hands onto your shins or onto your thighs. Activate your belly a little bit, shrug your shoulders back. As you exhale, you're going to plant your hands down. You're going to step your right foot back and bring your right knee to the floor. Coming into a dragon pose. And the purpose of this one is to start to feel the right front side of our body opening up, our hip flexors, our belly, the front of our right thigh. And because we are all quite unique, you might find that sensation just putting your fingertips on either side of your front foot. You may need to lift your hands up onto props to get that sensation. I always find that I get a little bit of a pinching sensation on the inside of my front leg when I do this. So I like to take my left leg, that's my front leg, out to the side and bring my hands to the inside of my foot as I bring my right hip, my back hip forward and lift the center of my chest. There's not really a wrong way to do this. You want to feel that opening sensation along the right front side of your body. You can drift your left knee open to the side if you want. You might even experiment with like a little baby twist, looking over towards your left knee, shrugging your left shoulder back. Nice deep side stretch here as well. I'm going to take a few more breaths here. And just finding that opening at the front of the body. Your next breath, you can start to come back to the center line. You're going to draw your right hip back here. Plant your hands kind of more or less underneath your shoulders. Mine are a little bit in front. You're going to take your left knee back next to your right knee. Come to a child's pose. Knees could come wide if that feels better. You just want to feel the crease of your hips. Let your forehead rest down, maybe on your hands. Just notice the difference between the right and the left. When you're ready, you're going to come forward into a table pose. You're going to tuck your toes under, push back through the arches of your feet, and lift to a downward facing dog. Now, in this downward facing dog, at least for the beginning part, keep your knees quite bent. So what you again feel like in the dangle at the beginning is the length of your spine. You're lifting your hips up and back. You're hollowing the pit of your belly, and you really feel your upper body stretching out. If you'd like at this point, you could pedal your feet or straighten your legs a little bit. And working into the lower body. Take one more deep breath here. And then you'll slowly walk your feet back to the front of the mat. You're coming back to where we started, back to that kind of dangling position with really soft knees, hollow belly, heavy head. On an inhale, find that halfway lift position, reaching the crown of your head forward. On your exhale, release, plant your hands down, step your left foot back. Bring your left knee to the floor. And I didn't mention this on the other side, but of course you can be cushioning your left knee. And you find your dragon. Whether you're quite comfortable with your hands framing your front foot with or without props. Some people find that lifting up here is what really gets into the left front side of the body. Maybe you also need to bring your right foot out to the right. I like to even angle my foot and I roll myself open onto the outside edge of my left foot. That just feels really good to me. It may or may not feel good to you. Your pose does not need to look like anyone else's. It just needs to feel like this nice, kind of deep but gentle stretch for the front of your body. Play around with that little mini twist and you look to your right and you kind of shrug your right shoulder back so you get more length on the left side, more stretch in the torso. Let's take another few breaths here. Again, you can close your eyes and then simply enjoy the sensation. If it feels really intense, I highly recommend closing your eyes, making it a little more gentle. When you're ready, turn back to the center line. Start to draw your hips back. When you have enough space, you'll take your right knee next to your left knee. Again, your child's pose can be knees together or knees wide. And you're just going to pull yourself back. Forehead might come all the way to the floor this time. Another deep breath here. We're going to crawl our way forward onto our belly. If you like to use a prop in your Sphinx pose, you can bring that with you. I'm going to use a prop for my Sphinx pose here. You can also do this just flat on the floor. But you want to lie down, and if you're using that prop, you want kind of the bottom of your rib cage to be at the bottom of the prop so that when you put your elbows down on the floor and your forearms down on the floor, they're more or less underneath your shoulders. You might have to wiggle around a little bit to get there. If you're doing this flat on the floor and you want a little bit of height, you can always kind of fold your mat up a couple of times and put that underneath your sternum. It's kind of nice. It gives a little bit more pressure against the belly, which can be pleasant or unpleasant depending on when your last meal was. So whether you like a prop or not is very personal, again, what feels good to you. With your forearms on the floor, you may find that you have to adjust the placement. You might have to bring the arms closer in so that you're lower down or further out. See what feels good. Lift the center of your chest here as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring your chin down towards your chest. Sleeping Sphinx. Keep pulling your shoulders back as you do this. So you're just nodding the chin towards the chest. The rest of your upper body is elevated. Breathe deeply here and enjoy. Chin to chest. The yin part isn't just the holding of the poses, the duration of our asana. The yin is entering into a different state, a state of introspection, a little quieter, a little darker, a place where we can rest and reset. For many of us who spend our lives in a yang way, a go, 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 deadline driven type A world, this is a wonderful antidote. A couple more breaths here. Gently begin to press down into the forearms. Lifting yourself up. Push yourself back to a seated position. I'm going to turn to face you, but you can face any direction that feels good. Find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes and just take a few moments to feel the space of your abdomen, how it feels after that gentle pressure and opening. Ready, like your eyes open. I'm going to come into a forward fold. We want to target a little bit our inner thighs as well as our hips, our low backs, and our mid backs. So you could do a butterfly pose here. Soles of the feet together, folding forward. For a lot of people, this targets the inner thighs as well as the hips and back. And as you fold here, of course, you could use a prop or several. That might feel lovely. If you don't feel the inner thigh there, you might try opening your legs out wide as you fold forward. Finding an inner thigh stretch there. If you don't find the inner thigh stretch there, or that's a little bit too intense, you can do this same, basically same pose, but lying on your back. If you happen to have a wall, you can bring your legs against the wall while you do it. And you just open your legs up wide in a reclined straddle, which can be a little bit easier on the hips and back if you get that inner thigh in the straddle, but it's a little too intense. So pick the one that feels the best for your body today. Add any props that you like. And again, you might like to close your eyes or simply focus your gaze on one point. Just become aware of the sensations of your legs. Of your hips. As you are ready, compress yourself back to a seated position. If you're lying on your back, you can just draw the knees into the chest for a few moments there. Make your way towards a seated position again. It's one that's relatively comfortable. You can even sit up on your props. Again, close your eyes or focus your gaze. Relax your shoulders. Now notice any sensation that has changed in your legs. When you're ready, blink your eyes open. We're going to lie all the way down onto our backs. Just make sure that the space on either side of your torso is relatively clear, because we're going to take a twist here, drawing the knees one and then the other into the chest. Linger here for a moment, maybe even rock a little side to side. And then as you're ready, you're going to take your knees over towards the right. And as you do this, you can always prop underneath your knees or between your knees. If you need to separate them a little more, that's fine. You can extend your left arm out to the side. And find, again, a gentle but deep pose. Gentle but deep twist. Turn your head to look towards the left. Allow your belly to soften. As you're ready, bring your knees back to the center. Maybe again a little rock from right to left. And when you're ready, take your knees to the left, opening your right arm out. Any props or accessories you would like here. As you're ready, bring your knees back to the center. And when you're ready from there, stretch your legs and your arms out long. Finding Shavasana. You might consider resting one hand on your belly and one on your heart. Becoming aware of the rise and fall of your breath. And the beat of your heart. can stay here as long as you like. It is always beneficial to spend extra time in relaxation if you can wedge it into your day. When you are ready to return, take a deep breath in, maybe reaching your arms over your head. Deep breath out, softening your shoulders. Roll yourself all the way over to one side. Rest for a breath or two before making your way to seated. Bring your hands in front of your heart. We'll close with our deep breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. On 3. 1, 2, 3.